Hello and welcome. Today I just wanted to give you kind of a preview or a sneak peek of a new suite collection that's going to be coming out as an online exclusive with Stampin' Up! On March 3rd, 2026. This is currently available for demonstrators to purchase, and if you sign up to be a demonstrator before March 3rd, you can order it. However, for customers, it will be available on the website starting March 3rd. This is called the Homemade Sweetness Suite Collection, and the whole suite is really based around like fruit and berries and jars and jams, anything kind of like canning and fruit and sweet related. It's just so cute. It's really nostalgic. I was really excited when I saw this because it just really, kind of brought me back to my childhood. My mom did a lot of canning growing up. We did some fruit and some jams, syrup and stuff once in a while. We probably did more vegetables and, tomato soup and things like that. But just the whole canning process and, having this jar with the jar lid and all of that just really kind of gave me a nostalgic feeling. So I was pretty excited about this suite. I'm going to go through all of the details, what's included in this suite, and then, kind of how you can get the pieces separately as well. You don't have to purchase everything, but I wanted to be able to show you a little bit up close what all is included with this collection. So before we go through all the designer series paper in the collection, I wanted to pull out the coordinating cardstocks. Now these are not included with the collection. These I pulled out of my stash, but I wanted you to be able to see kind of up close the colors that the designers have used to curate this particular collection. I think this is just beautiful. I love how it's kind of a rainbow. It's kind of a fresh, bright, version of a rainbow. If you have never purchased Stampin' Up! Designer Series paper before, anytime they have a collection of paper on the back, this piece of heavy paper that comes with the papers, it'll have the name, the size, designer series paper. So this is the Homemade Sweetness designer series paper, and then they always list the colors back here that are featured in the suite. So that's a really nice reference. I look at that all the time to make sure I'm kind of pulling the right colors of inks and cardstocks and things like that. Of course, you can use whatever you want, whatever you think looks nice with it, but if you have the colors that they've base this on, it does make it a little easier for mixing and matching and making sure things coordinate. So I'll run through the colors just so you have the names of those. They used Strawberry Slush, Calypso Coral, Crushed Curry, Granny Apple Green, Misty Moonlight, and Secret Sea. So just a really pretty variety of colors there. Again, you don't get the cardstock with that. That I pulled out of my own collection, but I wanted you to be able to see a nice big sampling of the colors that are in this collection. So now let's go through the designer series paper. This can be purchased by itself, or like I said, it is part of the suite collection as well. You're going to get 12 sheets of paper. There are 6 designs, so you get 2 of each paper. They, of course, are printed on the front and back. So one side is called the A side, that has kind of the big, bold pattern. And then the opposite side, which is called the B side, usually has a little bit more of a muted, maybe just a texture or some type of a pattern that isn't like more of the images. Okay, so this is the first one. It's all kinds of fruit. Again, remember, this is all based on fruit and sweet things. So really cute images of different fruits. And I have these all flipped back and forward so that you can see. This is the back of this one. So you get 2 sheets of each. This one is kind of that Misty Moonlight texture paper. The next one is jars of jams, lemon curd, honey, strawberry preserves, all different things. You could easily fussy cut any of these out. I can see, they're in such nice lines. I could almost see, cutting for a border on a scrapbook page, things like that. So really fun. And the back of that is this Strawberry Slush textured paper. The next one is this Ladybug and Daisy. That is kind of a muted Calypso Coral for that kind of a lighter tone of Calypso Coral. And the back of that one is the Misty Moonlight checker, kind of a picnic pattern, picnic blanket looking pattern. Okay, the next one is a bunch of different spoons, and you might think, well, how do spoons go along with the rest of this? Of course, dipping into the jams and jellies, you need a spoon to get it out, and there is also a spoon in the Stamp and Die set, so we'll see that in just a minute here. So there's that one. The back side of that, if you don't like that one, the back side of it is actually little hearts, so it's kind of that you know, a muted tone of the Strawberry Slush with the darker Strawberry Slush hearts. So that could be really useful for lots of different occasions. And then the last one here, which I might, or not last one, second to last one, I actually have them backwards. I've used part of this one, so my sample of the front of the page is a smaller piece, but you get these cute little white flowers on that blue background with the Granny Apple green leaves. And then the back is kind of the two tones of that pink, the Strawberry Slush again. And the last sheet in here is a smaller version, little bit different jars. Some of them are different, but smaller jars. Really cute. Blueberry jam, mixed berry. And then the back of that actually looks like notebook paper with the Strawberry Slush and Misty Moonlight stripes. So a really fun collection. You know, like I said, they always do the front and back different. So, you know, if for some reason you're not really needing this much of a fruit pattern, or, you know, don't prefer one of these, you can always flip it over and have, you know, the backside, which is a little bit more neutral and might go with other occasions as well. So that is the Designer Series paper. Let's just go through some of the embellishments. This one is, you get the spool of ribbon. It's called Checkered Trim, and it is Misty Moonlight. So it's that Misty Moonlight and white. See if I can get the light on it. You, of course, get, let's see here. It's 1/4 of an inch wide, and you get 10 yards. So a nice spool of that, very cute. The embellishments that are in the suite, or you can purchase separately, are called Strawberries and Dots. There are 104 in here, so little tiny strawberries down here, and then the Strawberry Slush and Misty Moonlight dots. A couple different sizes. There are smaller ones and bigger ones. Also, as part of the suite, or to purchase separately, is an embossing folder, and this is called Ladybug Picnic 3D Embossing Folder. I don't know, did anybody grow up watching Sesame Street? I still every now and then will sing that Ladybug Picnic song. That has stuck with me all of these years. I'm in my 40s, nearly 50, and I still think about that song. The Ladybug Picnic song from Sesame Street. So anyway, this is really cute. There's little ladybugs and daisies all over it. Super cute little embossing folder. And that brings us then to the Stamp and Die set. Now, these are called Filled with Sweetness Stamp and Dies. So they always name the Sweet Collection and the paper the same name. So that's the Homemade Sweetness Sweet Collection, or the Homemade Sweetness Designer Series paper. These are called Filled with Sweetness Stamp Set and Dies. Okay, so just so you know, there's a little bit of different naming convention with that, but they're very similar. Now, you can, of course, get this as part of the suite. You can order each one of these separately. If you want the stamps but not the dies, you can certainly just do that. Or you can order these as a bundle. And if you order the stamp and die as a bundle, you do get a 10% discount. So that is a little bit of an incentive to get both of them. So let's see, I'm gonna pull this out. It's probably easier just to see it on the front here, but I'll pull these out anyway. There are 10 stamps in the set. And the biggest stamp is this jar, and then there's a lid. There's a strawberry, blueberries, and a heart, a little swirl design. And then there's the sentiments are "You're the sweetest," "Love you very much," "Homemade for you," and "Thank you." Okay. And here are those stamps. Let's get them the right direction here so we can see the words, but look at how big that is. This is shown at, typically it's shown at about 90%. Does it say? I guess this one doesn't say, but just so you know how it looks pretty big on the front card there, and then to hold this up, it's actually bigger. So this pretty much fills an entire A2 size card. It will fit side by side or side to side on an A2 size card. Okay, really nice size. And then let's go through the Filled with Sweetness dies that coordinate. There are 16 dies, so as you know, with only 10 stamps, 16 dies, you're going to get some extras, which I always love because that just helps you have more opportunities to embellish. Really make your projects, your paper projects, extra cute. So one thing I'm really excited about playing with, let's get it turned the right way, is this die here. This will cut out the jar, so you can just cut out one side if you just want a single panel of the jar. Otherwise, this is a die where you can make a jar-shaped card. So if you put this, of course, blade side down, it'll cut out basically two jars, but it'll score it right in between so that you can fold it. And then you have a card shaped like the jar. Very, very cute. And then you have a couple different options as far as the top. This would be the like the jar lid. There's a thing that looks like the fabric, you know, when you put a piece of fabric over the top of a jar and decorate it with some ribbon. Here's some little things that look like string and a bow. There's a little, I don't know, kind of a curved piece here that will cut a slit into the top. So then when you have the slit, you can use this spoon handle here and put that down in through the top. There's this nice little label or tag. I always love having a tag. There's a heart, a couple flowers, the strawberry and blueberries. And then I think the last three things on here are these labels. So a scalloped label, kind of more of a rectangle with an oval, and then some bigger scallops oval. So you can use some different labels to kind of put on the front of your jar. Really, really cute. And then the last thing I just wanted to mention was a lot of times there are dies in the die set that will coordinate with the designer series paper and cut out images from the paper. This set does not actually have that I have found. If I'm wrong, please somebody let me know. But I have gone through and kind of looked it all over, and I don't find any that coordinate exactly. So you do have a die for your strawberry and your blueberries. These coordinate with the stamps. They fit exactly for the stamps, but they are actually too big for any of the images on the papers. But I think any of these images are simple enough that they would be really easy to die or to fussy cut. I will tell you, I am not a huge fan of fussy cutting. I usually will avoid it if possible, but I think that these look simple enough where I could certainly, you know, cut around a blueberry or a strawberry if I thought that I wanted to have some of those to place around just individually. So I did want to mention that because that's a feature that they do a lot, but they didn't do it with this collection. So thank you so much for joining me for this quick preview, show and tell of this new collection, the Homemade Sweetness Sweet Collection that will be coming out March 3rd, 2026. I hope you'll take a look at it when it comes out, see if it's something you're interested in adding to your craft room. I'm really excited to start playing with this, and I'll be sure to share some different ideas and inspiration, motivation on some of my social media channels. So feel free to follow along on Instagram, Facebook. Make sure you subscribe here on YouTube so that you don't miss the next time I come out with a video. Thank you so much for joining me today, and have a great rest of your day.